I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Arsenal 2, Luton Town 0. We've got another clean sheet, 3 points on the board in relation to this title race, and we keep it moving. As usual, appreciative to you lot tuned in. Now, I'd like to, before I get into my thoughts, apologize, people, because I was wondering why I never got alerts on my YouTube channel. Again, I did a review of the game, file corrupted. Here we are in it. So yeah, in relation to Arsenal versus Luton Town, I think the most important thing was to keep winning football matches or not losing them and getting points on the board in relation to the title race. As we know, there isn't too many more games left to play, so it's vital that we win. While I'm happy with a point at the Etihad, and I don't want to get into Arsenal versus City once again, I think it is a courageous point and things, but fundamentally it is 2 points dropped, and we're not, in the driving seat where the Premier League title is concerned. I think we've moved back to top on goal difference. Liverpool are playing later tonight against Sheffield United. You'd expect them to mash them up. And obviously we saw City win against Aston Villa. So our job was to just get points on the board, keep moving, keep this conversation going, going into Brighton and the games we've got left this season. And also as well, I think it goes over people's heads a lot, I think people need to understand, yes, we made rotations, and I do think the rotations are going to, contribute to us maybe not being at our attacking best or being the free-flowing side we've somewhat been on occasion this season. And also for the players that did play, I think Benjamin White was good. I think Gabriel and Saliba were good. Not that it was the greatest of tests. The regular footballers, they've had a lot of football the whole season, definitely in recent weeks. And we played on Sunday. Now we're playing on Wednesday. There isn't too much of a turnaround in terms of recovery. So we just need to get the job done. I have to say, before we keep going on with Arsenal, credit to Luton. Whether Arsenal could have, should have, would have scored more, I don't know for that. But considering their injuries, where they are, I think I don't think Luton will care because they need points on the board to stay in the division. But I think it was commendable that they never got battered, bullied, and things like that. They could leave with their pride intact in relation to the game. Would I like to have seen more goals? 100%. One of these days, Smith Rowe is going to score again for Arsenal Football Club. He was encouraging. Would I like to see more goals? 100%. We had, I think 11 shots in the first half, 3 on target. By the end of the game, we had 13 shots, 4 on target. Now, of those 4 chances on target, we've converted 2, so we keep it moving. Shout out to Martin Odegaard for getting the goal as well, and shout out to Kai Havertz and Smith Rowe for their involvement in that one as well. Big up to Smith Rowe for technically having an assist, but it went down as an own goal. Shout out to Reece Nelson for following in. So considering the changes, I'm happy because we got the job done. Arsenal fans, we've been spoiled. We've scored a lot of goals this season. We've put teams to bed within the first 5 to 10 minutes this year. We're probably the most informed team in the Premier League in 2024. And the goals we scored, the clean sheets, the points on the board reflect that. But I think we've become accustomed to battering sides. Now, on another day, I might have wanted that actually, and I still wanted that. I think we could have scored more. I think we could have created more, but I just feel we can't always do that. Not that we don't want to, it's just not always going to be the case. 2-0 is a humble performance. Yes, we could have boosted the goal difference, but I'll take the 2-0. I'll take the 3 points. Personally, I think that game showed me a funny old game of opinions, because depending on what Arsenal fan you talk to, nobody's right or wrong. Everybody's got a different thought. Me personally, I think literally, apart from a couple stray passes, literally a couple, I think Thomas Partey picked up where he left off with his cameo against Man City. I think in his first start since August, I think he did very well. I think Zinchenko was quite bright as well, if I'm completely honest with you. I think Smith Rowe kind of, maybe because of fitness purposes, second half, not really much to talk about. But I think he was probably the man of the match for me, and probably the man of the match of the first half. Odegaard was turning it on occasion. I did think it was more boring than the City game, because it's like we're not really creating anything. And if I had to criticize Luton, I think they're kind of snapping at efforts. They're kind of snatching at efforts and failing to clear their lines amicably. And we're not really taking advantage of that. I did think in the first half, on some occasions, I wouldn't quite say Luton looked like they were threatening on the counter-attack, but it looked like one of those games where a bit of magic from Barkley, a bit of invention from, I think, Morris, the striker, and they may have scored. But other than that, it was a low-key affair where nothing was really going on. I did think in the first half, the tempo was a lot faster than I would have given it credit for. But yeah, second half was a bit of a sort of game, if I'm honest. But all in all, again, Kai Havertz got a yellow, and he's got to be careful, because if he gets a yellow card between Brighton and Aston Villa, he's missing 2 games. Being devil's advocate, Is it best that he just takes one against Brighton and he misses Villa in the game after that, but you're still an option for the other games left? I'm not too sure. And as I said, the fixtures are coming very quickly now. It's all about taking advantage of teams where you can put in points on the board and building up momentum in the Champs and in the Premier League. I also think Trossard was good as well. How many, he nutmegged someone and then he did a naughty Cruyff turn in the first half and sent someone shot. For me, I think Reece Nelson played it a bit safe. I don't think he was bad, but I think he was playing probably a bit too safe. I don't really like him on the right-hand side. He can play there. I think he's more... I would like to see him on the left a bit more because there's more variety in that regards. But in general, people, I think the squad players who came in did well. Arteta spoke before the game, definitely not midweek, before the game, about how the squad players are going to need to be utilised. And I think they all done well. I think the players returning from injury and Thomas Partey, Zinchenko in particular, did quite well. I also think, again, Smith Rowe did well. Again, I have to mention it again, folks. Like, what has that man got to do to score a goal? It just feels like it's never going to happen. Against Newcastle, I thought he scored. Last night against Luton, I genuinely thought the ball went in the back of the net. On another day, I would like to have seen a bit more, man. I did think there was a couple rusty touches in the first 20 minutes from everybody involved. As I said, on another day, I would have liked to have seen more goals because Luton Town were really struggling to clear their lines. And I think I think Odegaard and Havertz done well, but I think on another day, them two in particular could have done more. I think in that regards, I think for a large part of it, Smith Rowe was the bright spot, but generally a low level affair. We keep ticking over. There's not really anything to scream and shout about beyond Smith Rowe doing well. The players that have been injured getting minutes, us getting 3 points in the clean sheet, and us just keeping it moving. Commiserations to Luton, because although I feel, there's some level of respect they can take in that performance, definitely with their injuries, it doesn't help them because, it's not going to help them stay in the division. But it's just about winning the games, and it's a condensed fixture calendar list. April is not going to be easy. So it's about winning the games, people getting minutes, other players' legs being saved. Obviously, Saka played no part of the game. We hope his injury isn't too serious. And then we go on to Brighton, which is going to be a different test. And it'll be interesting to see who is going to start against Brighton, because I think Kirill deserves to start, for example. But could Arteta be tempted to play Tomiyasu? Now, I think if Tomiyasu was in contention to start, it might be like where Nicholas Partey is, in that he's getting an hour to maybe go and start again on Brighton. But again, maybe the Arteta is saying, you know what, this is an opportunity to give significant minutes. I did think we'd see Fabio Vieira, but you could just never tell with Mikel Arteta. But generally, we did all right, man. I like the first goal in particular, because I don't want to draw too many conclusions on 90 minutes, but it looks like the pennies dropped for Smith Rowe, if I'm honest. Yes, we all know he's very cultured on the ball, but he was tenacious. He was trying to nick the ball high up the field. I think early on in that game, he's making third man runs, blasting into the box, and it's not necessarily being picked up. I think he feels a lot more confident. I think the pennies dropped that, nobody can save me from my situation but myself. If I want to play games, it's now. And it was nice to see him pick the pocket of the Luton lad before Odegaard and Havertz obviously did what they did to kick off proceedings. Would have been nice for Nelson to have claimed that goal, but it went down as an own goal for the second. But who cares? As I said, 3 points, 2 goals, clean sheet, no injuries, minutes in the legs for players that are returning from injury, plain sailing. And now we focus on Brighton away, which is a difficult test. As you lot know, April's a real month for us. We've got Brighton. You got Bayern Munich ×2. You've now got the North London derby. You've got Aston Villa, Zuna Emre's Aston Villa side, where they're fighting for the Champions League qualification. So we've got it all to do, man. And if players can come back fit and ready and give Arteta some positive problems where squad selection is, then we're doing all right, and we should give ourselves the best case of running this title down to the wire, and obviously pipping Liverpool and City to winning the title and claiming our first one during the Emirates era. Now, you hope Sheffield United can pull a surprise against Liverpool. I can't see that happening. I know some of you Arsenal fans were expecting Unai Emery to do something against Aston Villa. Do something for Aston Villa against City. That was a myth. We have to hope, man. We're not in the driving seat. We have to hope Liverpool drop points. Hopefully, Sheffield United do a job. But people can drop as many points as they need to and as they want. We need to do our job. And it was a professional performance of such. As I said, they can't all be 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s. I know us Arsenal fans, including myself, thought this might be an opportunity to boost the goal difference, but it wasn't to be. It could be better, it could be worse. I take the 3 points and we keep it moving. That's all I've got to say. Let me know your thoughts on who you think impressed, what you feel of the game, what you feel this 3 points means moving forward. Do you think we'll win the Prem? And everything in relation to Arsenal, people. Check out the rest of the vids. Appreciative of you lot listening. Peace.
There's always just that active red line defending.
I think it's like